Good afternoon, everybody. Today we have the 20.8 patch review with me, Bofur. For those of you that watch on Twitch and are familiar with the content that I make, we did an exhaustive patch review today. For all the people that are watching this for the first time, might be seeing this through Reddit or YouTube or whatever, we have the link for the exhaustive patch review below, but it was requested by many people in chat today that I make a consolidated view of the patch, post it, 15-20 minutes worth of video so that we can consult it in the future. So that's what we're going to be doing here. For those of you that don't know me, because I know there's a lot of new eyes on the channel at this moment, I'm Bofur. We play daily on Twitch, approximately 13 to 14k MMR this season. I've retaken rank 1 NA 6 times so far, and on the quest to take it back a 7th time. All right, starting the patch review. So we're doing Battlegrounds updates today. Not worried about standard, duels, whatever, just specifically Battlegrounds. Starting with our new hero, Curtis. Curtis over here. Kurtrus, I know, but we're going to call him Curtis. Curtis has probably the most convoluted description for a hero power that we've ever had in Battlegrounds. It's a 3-phase hero power where you have to trigger phase 1 to proc phase 2 to be available to be completed, then phase 2 to proc phase 3, and phase 3, once you complete it, you no longer have a hero power. Alright. The hero power basically requires you to buy X number of minions in a turn, starting with 3 to 4 to 5. So, what exactly is this? Like, passive buy 3 minions in a turn, give them plus 2/2, and progress this. In other words, move to the second section of the hero power. How do you achieve buying 3 minions in a turn? Well, you're going to need some time, right? Feasibly, you could do this on 7 gold. You'd have to sell 2 minions to triple buy. And you take what is effectively a Kael'thas buff on 3 different minions. It's a good amount of tempo, right? More likely, you're probably going to proc this thing on the 8 gold turn. If you think about leveling on a typical leveling curve where you level to 2 on 4 gold, and then level to 3 on 7 gold, that 8 gold turn will be very, very easy to just sell a minion and triple buy something. You will take 3 minions, all with a 2/2 buff, and have a ton of tempo. You could then view the next time to take the second set of the hero power as the following turn, which would be very difficult to do considering that you just used all of your gold to complete the first phase. So more likely than not, you're looking at leveling the 4 and buying 1 minion and sitting still for a turn, and then completing it on the first turn on 4. The really nice part about this hero power is that you are going to have so much tempo going to 4 that you're going to stabilize the game and give yourself a lot of time to find triples, or just all in on a tempo comp and take an easy top 4 placement. This hero power does not really give you a win condition, it just gives you a ton of stats on board. That doesn't mean it's bad, it just makes the hero a much more go for second place type of line. Not a bad hero, should be pretty fun. TBD on how good it's going to be. I imagine this is a reasonably good, like, low tier 2 hero. Think like Alakir or Kael'thas, or like Ragnaros or something like that level of a hero. Alright, we have a new minion. Tavern 6, Battlecry, refresh Bob's Tavern, with your most common minion type. On the surface, this might look a little bit, a little weird. Like, why would I want to triple into a 6-star, get a 4/4 body, and all it does is refresh my tavern to give me a bunch of beasts or a bunch of mechs or whatever? Well, I think on the surface it's a pretty bad card. That when you triple into a 6-star, you're usually looking for direction or tempo, right? You're looking for something that gives you a way to win the lobby, or you're looking for a bunch of stats that make it so that you don't die quickly. If you're, falling behind and you're tripling, you're trying to stay alive. This does neither of those two things. But what does it do? Well, we can think of a few high roll lines, right? Let's say you're a Nomi board and you have a bunch of elementals and you triple your Molten Rock. Well, I mean, suddenly this card looks pretty good, right? You don't usually go for 6 stars on a Nomi board. But if one of your 6-star options is to give you 5 more elementals to play for Nomi, seems pretty damn good. How about brand Murloc boards? Turns out most Murlocs are playable. 5 more Murlocs, including maybe Primal Fins or Bagurgles. pretty damn good. So this is kind of a weird triple, where the vast majority of mid-game, like turn 7, turn 8, turn 9 triples in the 6-star, you're never going to want to find this thing. But if you're a build that's already found its direction, like Bran Murlocs, Nomi, whatever, this is actually a reasonable thing to triple into. Normally it's been like, oh, 6-stars aren't useful to Nomi. 6-stars aren't really useful to Bran Murlocs. Occasionally Amalgadon might be playable, but like in general, it's not that good. This is actually a reasonable thing to triple into. Not a lot of tempo. Not a lot of value for the mid game, but useful in very niche scenarios. Seems healthy for the game. It's kind of an interesting take on a 6-star. Lich King's back, hopefully this time without its bug. For those of you that didn't know the bug, if you reborned a minion for Lich King, then tripled that minion, it permanently kept the reborn. There's a reason they removed it from the game. That is now gone, and he is back in the pool. Shutterwalk has been removed. Bye, Shutterwalk. I don't think you'll be missed. He was rarely played. Hopefully they redesign and bring him back and do something different with him. Because, you know, it was an interesting idea. First, revamped hero. So we have a list of basically like 10 heroes here that were all revamped completely. They've either gotten small... Okay, I shouldn't say completely. Either major overhauls on what their hero power does, or were incrementally buffed in a meaningful way. Which is a really good thing. We've been asking for this for ages, right? Blizzard, please buff the bad heroes. It feels terrible to play Illidan. It feels terrible to play Edwin. It feels terrible to play X, Y, and Z. Well, they took a shot. They took a lot of heroes that were low pick rate and have turned them into better heroes. All right. So, first one's Galakron. Old hero power used to be replace a minion in Bob's Town with a minion of a higher tavern tier. Cost 0. Now it costs 1, but you get to discover the minion of the higher tavern tier. Most people that played about 6 months ago remember Galakron being completely busted. Taking a turn 5 6-star, getting an early Calicos, getting early tempo, taking an early late Fang, whatever it may have been. Really, really, really strong. Now it costs 1, but gives you consistency on what you're discovering into. What I will say is that I don't think this is very good. I think Galakron in general is with this kind of hero power, becomes a very feast or famine hero. Its average is going to be very bad. It's not going to be competitive at the highest level. That being said, it will be a fun hero that a lot of people like, that gets the high roll really hard and get a turn 5 Foe Reaper and cleave the lobby. So you're going to have like a little bit of a difference in opinion. At a competitive level, it's probably not playable. For the rest of the high rollers and memers out there, you're going to love your hero. I saw 5 Galakrons in 10 games today. 4 out of 5 of them got 7th or 8th place. Not shocking, because your hero power is super expensive. 1 gold on those early turns that you don't have that 1 gold, and causes you not to level on curve. It's really hard to use, realistically. Alright, number 2, Trade Prince Gallywix comes back. For those of you that remember Trade Prince Gallywix, well, you're true OGs, because this hero was in the game for probably, what, a month in 1.0? It used to be 1 gold hero power gives you a gold coin in your hand. In other words, you could kind of carry over a floated gold till the next turn. It was pretty shitty. It's not shocking to see that that hero power doesn't do enough to be viable. The new hero power, one of the most interesting hero powers Blizzard has added in a long, long time. And that is, after you sell a minion, on your next turn, gain 1 gold for each minion that you sold. So in other words, if you sell 2 minions and buy things on, say, like, I don't know, turn 8, turn 6, turn 5, on that next turn, after you sold those 2 things, you'll have 2 extra gold in the following turn, and that can exceed the maximum gold of 10. So you could have 12 gold to work with at the beginning of the next turn. In other words, any minion that you buy in the game is net 1 gold usage. You sell it back for 1 gold, and you get 1 extra gold the next turn. So buying temporary minions is a lot more feasible for someone like Gallywix. If you get a token minion, an Alley Cat, a Tide Hunter, a Celemental, it's net positive 1 gold for you. This here is very, very, very token driven, but you get a lot of economy in the mid game. It makes your leveling curve different every game depending on what you find, and you can potentially level at a pace that is on par with what Omu does. And then also have a hero power at the late game. I can see the high roll potential for Gallywix. I also saw 3 Gallywix today that all got bottom 3s. So it's going to be a very high skill cap hero. It's going to be an interesting one. but I think it's very, very, very strong in general. All right, Maiev is back. Maiev, dominant in the last couple patches. Got removed from the game because its average was ridiculous and it's high rolling and dunking on people. Well, Maiev's new hero power is, instead of after 2 turns, get a minion after you imprison it, now it's 3 turns. But to compensate, instead of it being a 1 attack bonus, it is now a 1/1 bonus for any minion you imprisoned. Well, that fundamentally changes the way that Maiev plays the game, right? That Maiev is a hero that likes to triple in the 5s and 6s, and if you get these minions too late, then 3-turn delay is enough time to just die. Now, that being said, the minions that you imprison are significantly stronger. 1 health is a big deal in the early turns. So we're going to see a little bit of a difference. If Maiev lines up a triple really, really quickly, great. If it doesn't line up a triple really quickly, then you're probably going to be playing a little more tempo-oriented in the mid-game, and then try to triple a little later. Overall, they did fix Maiev, or fix. It is a different hero than we've had before, and is significantly different playstyle. Cool. We needed a patch. All right, updated heroes. There are quite a few of them that have been redesigned fundamentally. And then these ones that are more of small incremental bonuses. So we're going to go through these relatively quickly. Edwin is now +2/+1 per minion you bought per turn instead of 1/1. Makes Edwin significantly better in Divine Shield units, on cleaves, etc., etc. It's a small change, but a welcome change. It's a weak hero that got a small buff. Probably still doesn't pull him out of the gutter, but makes him a little more tolerable. Dino Tamer Bran, fundamentally redesigned. This one is most people's pick right now for the most busted of the new heroes. Instead of its old hero power, which is now completely irrelevant and a completely different hero power, it's the 3rd time we've had a different Bran hero power now. The new passive is after you play 5 Battlecry minions, add Bran. Bran Bronzebeard, the card, to your hand. The 5-star 2/4 minion Bran Bronzebeard. Well, I played Bran once at high MMR. I got obliterated. We got a turn 4 Bran, took no damage, and on turn 7 took 30 from a Maiev. So I'm a little bit inclined to say that the risk of taking Bran is high. That being said, Maiev high rolling, wow, shocking, did 1 million damage, that's sad. I think Bran, this hero is actually relatively good. Mid to high tier 2 type of hero, like a 4.0 average type of hero. Bran is a hard card to take as a triple. When you play in the mid game, especially at, we'll call it high MMR, people generally are not weak, right? Everybody plays for tempo. They have a lot of stats on the board. They're not greedy. And when you try to triple into a Bran, for example, you're going really far down in tempo and trying to recover by playing battle cries. Well, if you can get that Bran early enough, a 2/4 body still trades decently well, and you can try to recover via either tokens for, like, you know, the Bran Khadgar type of play, or for just sheer battle cries. Getting Bran is not the hard part. It's stabilizing the game once you get Bran. That is the difficult part. We can all see why this is incredibly busted in the right hands. If you get a bunch of early Battlecry Murlocs and then you just get a free Bran, wow, that looks like an easy lobby to play, right? Well, what happens when you get a bunch of mismatched Battlecries and bad minions in your tavern? You have 1 tribe on the board, you get a Bran, and then you're down at 15 health. There's definitely risk associated with this. The hero is good. That doesn't mean it doesn't have a downside. Most of the tier 1 heroes that are out there, the Hooktusk, the Jandis, the Cthulhu, the Guff, the Mutinous, those heroes rarely low roll. Bran looks like it can low roll, so it puts it a little bit lower than that tier. Not bad, definitely fun and interesting. Be careful. This hero is probably a little overrated right now. All right, Illidan. Completely buffed. Now, it's not fundamentally changed. The minions that you have on the left and the right side that get to attack first also get to attack. Temporarily for the turn. It is not a permanent stacking to attack. Keep that in mind. Well, it's tempo in the early game. It usually saves Illidan between like 5 and 10 health because you get to win your early rounds that you wouldn't normally win by just having a little bit of extra attack. Saves you a little bit of health, allows you a little more time to get online. You can still do all of the high roll Illidan stuff. Macaw Bomb builds, Macaw Goldrin builds, the Spawn in N'Zoth, Selfless Hero, all those kind of lines. And you get yourself a little bit extra time to get to a point where you win. Is it good enough? Illidan was arguably the worst hero in the game before this patch, and is probably still a tier 4 hero. But at least it's a better tier 4 hero. It's a step in the right direction. It's probably not enough to make it viable. Could have made this 4 attack and it probably wouldn't make it viable. But still, step in the right direction, right? Sindragosa, my vote for the best patch. Note, the best patch that we have in this 20.8 patch. And that is that you can now independently freeze minions instead of just freezing the entire board or not freezing any minions at all. Now you can freeze one minion specifically, allow the board to refresh, and only buy that minion the next turn. On those mid turns, especially the ones where you're trying to like level up, try to go to 3, try to go to 4 type of turns, freezing one minion's pretty tempting, and then you don't have to keep all of the other bad minions around. Also, if you think about why you freeze a minion in the mid game, say for example you're on Tavern 4, it's 10 gold turn, whatever, you freeze a minion at the end of the turn because you want to buy that egg or whatever. Now you can choose to just freeze the egg and not freeze the rest of the board. Ignoring the fact that it gets a 2/1 buff, you don't have to waste the entire gold refreshing on the next turn. You get 4 out of those 5 minions refreshed by only freezing that one minion. Now you get a small amount of economy as well for this hero. So you get early tempo via the hero power, and you get a little bit of economy to make it really easy to freeze specific things and allow for the board to still re-roll in between each turn. Is it a good hero? I think so. I think Sindragosa is legitimately a tier 2 hero. That she was, or he was, I don't know, the dragon was in a low tier 3 setting in the right hands before, and this brings it up to probably lower tier 2 range, maybe high tier 3. So like a 4.5 average, a viable hero in the game. It's a good patch, it's a good change. And it also keeps the flavor of Sindragosa, so cool. Good job, Blizzard. Guff got nerfed from 2/1 per hero power to 1/1 per hero power. We've seen this treatment before. This was the same nerf that they gave Wagtoggle, and Wagtoggle will hit the fucking deck by taking that hit. Do I think it'll absolutely neuter Guff? No, not like it did for Wagtoggle. Wagtoggle went from the best hero in the game to a tier 3 hero. Taking that nerf, it's because you have to have a bunch of 1 stars on Wagtoggle. Guff gets to buy 3 stars, 4 stars, 5 stars. Like, the stats aren't quite as relevant. I still think it's going to hurt him, but he's right now, on average, the best hero in the game. He has the best average out of any hero at high MMR. It's going to bring him down a little, bring him in line with other good heroes. It's a good change. Saurfang gets 1 extra attack on your units for when you use your hero power. It's going to start at 2 attack instead of 1 attack at the beginning of the game. Upgrades each turn, goes from 2 attack to 3 attack to 4 attack. Doesn't go 2, 4, 6. We had to clarify that on stream today. Just a small incremental buff for a hero that is arguably, in the right hands, a good hero already. Saurfang, I want to bring up my own stats, Saurfang is our 3rd highest win rate hero, statistically, ever. Like, average of all time, Saurfang is our 3rd highest win rate, and that's at #1 North America peak this season. Saurfang is a good hero. They made him even better. Now, you don't always buy or play Saurfang, you play him in the right lobbies. You look for those lobbies that incentivize big stats and mechs. Then you can just build big mechs and farm the people that play big stats. There's a reason that Saurfang's good. This is just going to make him a little bit better. It's good shit. Alright, and the last but not least, N'Zoth and Curator both got 2/2 starting minions. The Fish is now a 2/2. Curator Amalgam is also a 2/2. Small incremental buffs allows you to be a little stronger in the early turns, less likely to sell off the Curator bot or the Fish to just level and use it as 1 gold. Not great hero powers nonetheless. Now they're slightly better. And I guess I should say last but not least, Mukla. The big banana rate has been increased from 33% to 50%. In other words, when you push your hero power, there used to be a 33% chance you got a big banana instead of a banana, which when you get 2 bananas per turn meant that you would get approximately 0.66 or of big bananas per turn. So you got like 2.66 stats instead of 1 or 2 stats if they were normal bananas on average, and now it's up to an average of 3/3 stats per turn because of the big banana rate has been increased. Does that fix the hero? No, you still have to spend 1 gold to get bananas. It's really clunky and really hard to play, but at least it's a little better than it was before. Alright, quickly running through these, there are a few minion tweaks. Deflectobot has 2 attack per minion that dies now instead of 1 attack gained per minion that dies, or mech that dies in combat. I'm not sure who thought we needed to buff Deflectobot. It's already a really good card, especially at high MMR. But hey, it's the linchpin, the key component of mechs, and it got better. Okay, can make mechs a little bit better. It's not game changing, but it is a buff. A buff is a buff. Gar, fundamentally a different unit now. Like, holy shit. Gar went from an 8-1 baseline health to an 8-8 baseline health. You can now pick Gar when the other options suck. You can now pick Gar when you just have an elemental or 2 on the board, because Gar keeps you alive. Taking an 8-1 is pathetic. Taking an 8-8, much, much more reasonable, right? Not sure why they didn't do this a long time ago. Gar is one of the worst choices for most board states when tripling in the 6s. This makes it much, much more reasonable. Even today, just in 10 games, I saw multiple people take golden Gars or Gars and just go for big elementals. It's much safer when you can start with a decent sized Gar. Pretty cool. Good change. Very, very good change. Refreshing Anomaly is now 4 health instead of 3 health. Makes it a little bit better at staying on the board on turns 3, 4, 5. Still a really weak card to have around, but, you know, better than it was before. 1-3 is garbage. 1-4 is slightly less garbage. Alright. Big Fernal, buff from a 4-4 to a 6-6. Small incremental buffs to help demons out. I don't know if it's going to fix demons. I mean, demons are in a lot of trouble right now, but any help is a little bit of... It's something. It's good. Let's help out demons a little bit. Nobody plays demons right now. Razor Gore, buff from a 2-4 to a 4-6. This is a really good change in my mind. Razor Gore used to be one of those cards that was only really picked up if you were already dragons. And then you're like, oh, I have dragons, I take Razor Gore. Now you're going to have these choices where sometimes in the mid game you have a dragon or 2 on your board and you triple into a 5 and you go, huh, Razor Gore is actually okay right here. Imagine instead of taking a Razor Gore with 2 dragons on the board that's a 2-4 where you get a 4-6 the first turn, or 5-7 the first turn, you have 2 dragons on the board in Razor Gore, and now you have a 7-9. A 7-9 trades really well on, like, say, turn 6 or turn 7, where you'd be tripling in the 5 stars. It's kind of a big deal. It saves you quite a few hit points when you're tripling in the 5s. And normally when you're tripling in the 5s in these metas, you're doing so kind of out of a last resort. Where, like, I can't triple in the 6 because I'm too low health, or I need to find direction right now. That makes Razor Gore just a better pickup on those turns. This is just a good change. Pack Leader, probably the most altered card in the history of Hearthstone, got altered again. Used to be a 3-star, used to give 3 attack, then went down to 2 attack, then was a 2-3, then a 3-3, and now it's a 3-4. Makes it much more playable, right? A 3-4 stat line trades really well on the board on those early turns. Like a turn 3 Pack Leader makes a lot more sense when it's a 3-4 than it was when it was a 2-3, right? Now you can take it and then hedge a little bit in the beasts. Now, we don't go like full all in on Death Rattle Beasts very often, but it makes it so you can actually buy some of those like mid-game beasts, like a Rat Pack or whatever, and save some level of health. It's not a bad change. It was an underpicked card, and now it's a little bit better. Mama Bear buffed across the board by 1-1. It is now a 5-5 that buffs 5-5 instead of a 4-4 that buffs 4-4. Mama Bear was already a really good backup plan when you don't find direction, and you get a triple into a 5, and you're like, oh look, a Mama. I can just do that. You just take the beasts, you go for full murder mode, you throw every stat you can on the board. Mama Bear's even better for that now. Beautiful. Soul Juggler got moved from a 3-3 to a 3-5. Cool. Makes it a lot more tempting to pick up a Soul Juggler in the mid game when you may have 1 or 2 demons on the board, and you're like, oh, a 3-5, that actually trades decently well, and I have a demon or 2 that might die. More tempting to pick it up. Token Demons isn't going to suddenly become the best tribe or the best strat in the game, but sometimes the game gives you Token Demons and you take your easy top 4. Now it's a little bit safer. Last but not least, Overseer, buffed from a 2-3 to a 2-4, which is where it used to be. Small incremental buffs to demons. Demons are hurting, guys. Like, small buffs to a bunch of different minions might help it get back a little bit closer to playable. from this specific patch, the last but not least component is that we have Dark Moon prizes returning in 25% of games. In other words, one out of every 4 games, randomly distributed, right? You're going to have prizes back on turns 4, 8, 12, and 16. You will be offered a tavern prize, just like we used to have around Christmas time of last year, so 6 months ago. You might not have enjoyed that meta. You might have enjoyed it. You might have thought it was really imbalanced. Well, prizes add agency. They add choices. And generally speaking, I think that's healthy for the game. They absolutely needed to tune the prizes themselves, which they are doing when they're bringing them back this time. But they were a good mechanic to have in the game in general. All right. So, of the prizes that were changed, Might of Stormwind, the be-all biggest problem of that patch. They used to give all of your minions 1/1. Now is just give 3 random friendly minions plus 1/1. Definitely brought that back in line with the other tier 1s. Good stuff has been buffed from 1 extra health in all your minions in the tavern to 2 extra health. I gotta say, this is actually really nuts. That this went from being really bad, like the worst one to choose outside of probably Big Banana, to probably the best one to choose, because during those mid-game turns, you're really just taking tempo units through all of those turns, and allows you to level aggressively and save quite a bit of health. Compare that to a couple gold, or compare it to like 3/3 stats, most of the time good stuff comes out ahead. It's interesting, because it's a small change, but it made it go from like one of the worst to one of the best options. They didn't change much on Tavern 2. I know a lot of people have problems with On the House, and myself included, thinking that this should say like discover a Tavern 5 minion instead of like, you know, powering leveling the 6 and discovering a 6-star. You get it on turn 8. Getting a 5-star on turn 8 isn't oppressive, but getting a 6-star on turn 8 is pretty scary. Power levelers are really strong when they can get this card or this card. We'll wait and see. We'll see what happens. You don't exactly have the old Elise power level meta that we had back in those days. Great Deal has been increased from 2 extra gold reduction per turn to 3 extra gold reduction per turn. It was probably pretty obvious to Blizzard that this was never chosen. So, yeah, now it's even better. There are definitely times where it was playable. It's just a few times and far in between, right? They also moved double a minion's attack from the 12 gold turn to the 8 gold turn, which is going to create more variance between what you get offered in the on turn 8. We also have to remember that back in the time period of spells, Brand's Blessing was considered by most competitive players to be crazy strong. Well, that was because Khadgar behaved differently back then. Now Khadgar has been nerfed and you can't get minions that exceed the boards, the size of the board. So you can't get multiple triples off of one Khadgar plus Baron type of combo. So Brand's Blessing has definitely been nerfed too. So a lot of the problems that we saw with the spells before have been adjusted accordingly. Might of Stormwind, Brand's Blessing. On the House has fewer power levelers. I'm optimistic. I'm not sure why they kept Ice Block in. Ice Block was a huge contention point amongst top players where you have this one RNG instance that's offered to one player that effectively reads like save 30 to 40 MMR because you just get to live past another turn where you should have died. Ice Block was like always chosen, right? If you're offered Ice Block, you always choose Ice Block. Because unless you are absolutely certain that you get the top 2, Ice Block is usually just net better than everything else in terms of your average placement. Nothing changed on turns 12 or 16 other than moving Rat Pack or the double minions attack to turn 8. All right. So all that's been changed, and one other small change that is a really exciting one to talk about is that the Fire Festival is back in Hearthstone Battlegrounds. This festival was introduced a while back. It was really at first like just kind of a brawl type event where they were celebrating RAG. Well, with this one, it'll be starting on July 6th. We have legendary quests added. If you're a player that plays standard and other modes, then there's some legendary quests to do to earn some packs, alternate portrait, etc., etc. You'll have 3 weeks to do so. But the biggest, most exciting change here, okay, 2 exciting changes, but this one has me so excited, is that they're finally adding cosmetics to Battlegrounds. And you might be saying, oh, cosmetics, I don't care about the way my hero looks. It has bigger ramifications than that. I don't really care that much about how my hero looks either. But I want Blizzard to monetize shit like this because it incentivizes them to continue to develop the game. If the game is entirely free to play, and it is, like all you have to do is earn 2,000 gold to play on even footing with everybody per season. It's super easy to do free to play. Then there has to be a reason for Blizzard to continue to invest time, effort, and resources into making new content. Because if the game is free, they're not making money off of it. And at the end of the day, they're a company that needs to make money, right? Well, monetize off of vanity things. We've seen this in other games, you know, the Dota, the League, all of those, where if you add skins, people that play the game a bunch will voluntarily pay for skins. Other people that want to play entirely free to play can play entirely free to play. Everybody wins. You get the money to keep developing the game and make it good, and the people that want to pay get to pay. And they get a little vanity thing to make themselves feel better. I mean, I'll probably end up with this pack because, you know, I stream it and I play it all the time and I'd like the support as well. But hey, look, guys, vanity. There is reason for Blizzard to continue to develop this game. Looks like they're going to do so too. Let's keep reading on. We also get alternate voice lines. If you're tired of Bob saying the same thing, you can tell Bob to shut up and mute him by turning off game sound. Or you can pay for new lines for your battleground bartender. Maybe even a new bartender. Who knows? This Rag looks like a bartender. Can he be my bartender? It's pretty exciting, honestly. Like, you might not think, oh, vanity stuff is just dumb. It's not important. It's not playing the game. I want to try hard. But you can also appreciate that this allows Blizzard to continue to develop the game, and we want the game to be more complex. We want more additional or more things added to the game. We just want this game to be good. And this is a way to facilitate that happening. All right. There's another set of portraits that are outlined here. This looks like the last Warcraft expansion, the Shadowlands expansion. And the most exciting thing, the big one, is that we have a first look at the major Battlegrounds update. This will probably be coming in 21.2. Since Blizzard has announced the roadmap for each of their expansions is that they have a 0.0, 0.2, 0.4, and 0.6 and a 0.8 patch. Each expansion. The 0.0 patch is the standard patch. That's the one that will be releasing on August 3rd. You expect that the first major Battlegrounds patch, which it was before and they've said is going to be the 0.2 patch. We should expect this about a month after the standard change, so think first week of September. We're going to have a major Battlegrounds update. And what is this major Battlegrounds update going to do? Battlegrounds will get all new heroes and undergo a major rework of all minion types. A big patch. We'll be swapping over 30 existing minions for new ones, specifically designed to play off the core fantasy of the type and re-emphasize how the type plays, giving an entire mode a massive refresh. They give an example. Pirates will have a bigger emphasis on amassing gold and treasure with new cards like these two that are listed below. Briny Bootlegger, hard one for me to say apparently. At the end of your turn, if you have another pirate, add a gold coin in your hand. Think of this like Warden of Old, the 3-star 3/3 that when Death Rattle gives you a coin. Well, it's a better tempo unit at a 4/4 with a condition that there's another pirate on the board, and it doesn't have to die. So instead of getting like 0.7, 0.8 gold per turn off of Warden of Old, you could guarantee that you get the 1 gold, and you also get extra stats. A better pirate minion, right? And then this thing, which is a problem waiting to happen. It's a fun one to end the patch review on. 6-star, every 2 turns, add a random golden minion to your hand. Nobody can see how this is going to get out of hand. A 7/6, it's already a good stat line. Like, it's not a bad minion to pick up. And then every 2 turns, you get a minion like it's your dig turn on Eudora. You're tripling into a 6, you're on Tavern 5, 2 turns later, you get a random 5-star or below that discovers a 6-star. Every 2 turns for the rest of the game. I imagine this is going to be a very polarized opinion for how good this unit is. But on certain high roll heroes, it's going to be oppressively strong. You know, that turn 6 triple from Omu, that early Galakron unit generated into a Nosy Looter. Yeah, it turns out when they can generate multiple triples over the course of the game, that's pretty good. Now, I mean, if you're Alec here in the mid game at 15 health, you're on Tavern 4 and you're like, do I level to 5 and triple into a 6? You probably don't buy something that you'll be, you know, you'll get value off of in 2 turns when you're going to be dead in 2 turns. It's one of those units that very heavily prioritizes high rolling and power leveling. Then if you hit it, you blow out the lobby. The most apt comparison I heard on my own stream today was it feels like the old school Genie when it was on Tavern 5. When you triple into it and it just starts generating 6 stars, well, that was a scary lobby, a scary time to be in the game. Genie getting like the fucking little rags off a Genie, getting 6 stars off of a 5-star unit. Well, this thing's gonna be generating random minions that then discover 6 stars every turn, or every other turn, every turn for the gold version. Now, this is obviously months away. They may change it by that point. But if this is the direction they're trying to go with pirates and it's less tempo oriented and there's not as much like Eliza whatever, and it's more about getting all of the value, that's kind of a cool thing, right? It's a different way to play pirates, a different feel for the tribe. Oh, we're not going to freak out about it too much right now. Wait until you see the entire set and all 30 existing cards, over 30 cards, before we think like, oh, this is just unhealthy. Seems like it's a bit high rolly, but who knows? We'll find out as we go. All right, guys, thanks for tuning in. For those of you that are new around here, stream every day on Twitch, 2 p.m. till 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and over on YouTube. So take care, have a great night, and peace.